Hello and welcome to another edition of the Alternative Sports Show. This is the NFL edition, Sports Heads edition. I'm Andre Dixon, your host, in my bunker as normal. I'm joined by one of my partners in crime on the Sports Heads, Daniel Falui. How are you?
I'm good, friend. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. I'm good. I am. I don't know. I've lost count of the days. I think I'm going to have like a little, a little counting dial there every single time we have an interview or content that goes out, so you can actually just see how long I've been trapped here, like Han Solo. And we are joined by the amazing. It's a joy to a friend of the show. We've, Phoebe's known us for a long time, but it's Phoebe Schecter. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. I'm actually in Florida at the moment, but it is not a warm Florida. It is a 5-degree Florida, so which is a total letdown. I think I should show you the weather out here, and then you will be very blessed to be where you are now, because I'm sure you're not too far away from a beach. That's true. You wouldn't want to go. You wouldn't want to go because you would like end up an icicle. But no, maybe the snow in England is maybe a bit worse.
Yeah.
We haven't seen the sky for a long period of time, so definitely, it's one to embrace while you're there, definitely, for sure. So you're based you're in the States for now, obviously, because of the world global situation. So how are you getting on over there with obviously you're used to being over here with us in London, so how are you doing over there? What's it like?
Yeah, definitely. So I came over here, I guess probably 3 weeks ago now. But it's been good. It's very different in terms of the rules and regulations. They're definitely a lot more lenient over here. So I just make sure I wear my mask everywhere, and I'm good with my sanitizer. But no, I'm actually down here. There's a massive 500 team flag football adult tournament in Florida. Ooh. So yeah, and then I'm here all month with different flag football tournaments for the NFL and things like that. So it's pretty exciting. I am looking forward to it. It'd be good to get some football, and then obviously the end of the month in Tampa, into February, hoping my Bills will be front and center in Tampa Bay.
We know that I obviously Kevin, who was one of the founders of this show, is a huge Bills fan, so he wrote me in for a little while to at least wear the t-shirts and stuff like that. But I literally am now getting to a point where I'm like actually becoming a secret fan now. So I'm actually rooting for the team. But let's
Oh, you really though?
Yeah, well, I'm rooting for anyone that can beat anyone but the Browns, that's for sure. I'm not.
So let me put it out there. If Buffalo, Green Bay, who are you taking then?
Oh, Green Bay all day. You know this. I'm sorry. That's my guy over there. That thing there doesn't move at all in any way. But let's start from the start. So Phoebe, obviously you've been in NFL for a while, but for those who've been living under a rock, tell us how you got started within the world of NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. So my journey is so random. It does not get any more ridiculous. So I moved over to England over 8 years ago, to work with horses. So I was working for a guy on the Dutch Olympic team who was based up in right by Manchester. And really when I moved over, I was just looking for a way to get involved, get to meet people, kind of get a new social group, because I moved over by myself. So I was probably 23. Anyways, so I saw an ad online for American football trials, and really I think when you're out of your comfort zone, you're so much more willing to take risks. And for me, that's what happened. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to just go for it. I'd never played a contact sport in my life, but I thought I'll just give it a try, get a bit of American culture. And that was pretty much the turning point for me. So I got involved. From there, got put into contacts with our GB team over here. Just having the dual citizenship has been a lifesaver. So got in contact with them. Then I knew I couldn't play forever, although I'm 31 and I'm still playing. It's still debatable, but yeah. So I thought I'd get involved in coaching, and for me, coaching was a really great way to give back. So once I started coaching, I really, it's about like, just doing the best job, but also I started doing more talks because I completely changed my career path. I thought if I want to work in football, which I love, like it totally opened up this new like passion within me, then I changed my career path to get more into fitness so I could work with the football teams and also have a more flexible schedule. And literally did that, gave a talk on like basically females in sport and females in American football. A coach overheard me and was like, "Hey, would you want to come out and do basically like a 2-week internship with us?" And that was Rich Wurzel, who's in Akron now, and I went out with him, and that was it. Once I got out there, it was my first real experience of what it's like to be around football, and it just opened my eyes completely and really like sparked something within me that said, "This is what I want." Like, I'd imagine it's like you guys, right? Like you guys probably love working together. Working in real life is obviously a lot better, but like the energy pick up from each other, like that's so addictive, and that's something you want to be around. That's like a sports team. You get to feed off each other's energy, and you're doing it to build something together, pulling the same direction. And there's nothing like that. So that was the real start of how I actually got involved in coaching at all. And then the rest of it is getting involved with Buffalo Bills as an intern. So my first year, I was with them with DBs. So Tre'Davious White's first year, Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, like my 2 lockdown safeties. I love them. And the second year was tight ends, which was like totally opposite for me. I'd not really done anything on the offensive side of the ball. But now I'm seeing my dudes like Knox and Sweeney were out there. So, it's been pretty cool. I feel very, very lucky to be where I am.
No, that's good. That's actually, you move from the DB to tight ends. Maybe you might eventually move into sort of coordinating the offensive line, or maybe the offense in general as well. Yeah, probably just Alan would probably love to have your input in that. But I guess for me, with regards to, I guess, obviously your coaching experience and getting into the NFL, I guess what's been the most significant highlight of your career so far?
Oh my gosh. I feel like there are so many, just because I think just every new like experience is a new opportunity to learn. But I mean, I'll never forget my first staff meeting with Coach McDermott, and being around someone like that, someone that is such a strong leader, and really wants to bring you with him. I just remember our first staff meeting and just hooked on every word he was saying. I think partially because I really believed in what he was saying, but also I had similar feelings in terms of, I think sometimes we look at the NFL and we think that they are this all and mighty, which they absolutely are. But actually I was like, some of the things that this head coach is talking about are still the same values, the same messages that we talk about in the UK with our teams here, with the kids, with the adults, whatever it is. And I really enjoyed that, like bridging of the gap and thinking, actually, this isn't so different. Obviously it is in a lot of ways. This isn't so different. There's still the same fundamentals from the top all the way down to the bottom. So yeah, career highlight was literally just getting in the building that first training camp, and it was not easy, and there was so much learning to be had because I had no idea what I was doing. But actually, I think that's when you have that much kind of pressure applied to you or stress applied to you, that's where you grow the most. So for me, that was massive.
So you was a part of like the Bills before they were the cool Bills now. You was at the ground zero effectively. So tell me what that experience was like, because obviously when we met years ago, you was coaching in the UK, but like to be able to jump all the way into like the professional leagues, like what is the main differences, would you say?
Yeah, and that's a great question. I mean, if you're looking at teams over here in the UK, it's little things that really make such a difference. The way that they organize their year, the way that they schedule their year. I think just having the staff, even at college, there are people doing multiple jobs.
Mm.
But when you get into the NFL, you have a person for every single thing that you need. It's crazy, and those people have people, but you're trying to be the best at what you do when there's 32 other teams that you're competing with that are all trying to do the best of what they do. We all have the same amount of time in the day. So what is that advantage? What is that edge you can give? But I mean, what they offer, and talking from the Bills perspective, because every team is different, of course, but Bills literally offer players mental, physical, emotional, spiritual support. We have a chaplain on staff, and he travels with us.
Okay.
And so, having that is massive. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, and that's a big part of it for a lot of guys, is the spiritual element. And there's Bible studies in the mornings, or before a game, there's always chapel or mass on a Saturday night. And that's home or away. We'll find someone to come in and do that for you.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's just incredible because it means a lot to people.
Yeah.
And then you've got leadership teams. You've got people trying to teach these kids essentially what it is to be an adult, whether that's teaching you about your finances, because you've never had to do that before. You've been a probably all-star throughout college. People have done this stuff for you. And then obviously our facilities are unreal. You've got nutritionists, you've got we've got cryo tanks, the ones that make you freezing. We have our own that the guys can go into, underwater treadmills, zero gravity treadmills. I mean, literally anything these guys want, we try and support them and keep them in the building as long as possible. Because you don't, a lot of times when they leave the building, that's when they get into trouble.
It's true. That's true. We've seen that a lot, I must say.
Yep. Especially in that beginning of July time, around the 4th of July. That's always when the trouble starts.
Oh man, honestly, yeah, definitely. We had that with the Giants when my brain can't. I can't remember the exact player. I forgot his name now. Forgive me, fans. My brain's in go mode at the moment. But there's one particular player who blew his fingers off. With the 4th of July fireworks. So there's always a way that they get themselves into trouble, one way or another.
Massively.
Phoebe, I've got a question, obviously, with regards, and I'll put you on the spot a little bit, but with regards to sort of female coaches in the NFL, we're seeing more and more female personnel on sort of the coaching touchline. We've seen it with the Cleveland, we've seen it with the 49ers, yourself with the Bills. I would just put you on the spot. How likely do you think, or how soon do you think we're going to get a female, an actual female position coach, or even a female head coach in the NFL?
Yeah, and I think it's going to be way sooner than we think. Within the next 5 years, we'll have a female position coach. Within the next 10 years, I'm thinking coordinator, head coach, which is a pretty reasonable window. These women, it's like that top of the iceberg thing. So all these women that are in the league right now, I feel so fortunate to know, and I feel so fortunate to kind of have gone through that building phase with them. So yeah, we're seeing them now, but they've been doing so much work behind the scenes constantly, whether it's been with, some of the teams that have folded, like the XFL, or I'm blanking on what the other one was called that came after it. But you had we had the Arizona Hot Shots, things like that, whatever they were. So apologies to anyone who can't remember.
Don't worry, we're all working out. Don't worry.
Oh man. But so teams like that, they've been working like that, and there's an amazing woman called Samantha Rappaport who is behind all of it. So I think it's 5 years ago now, maybe 4 years ago, she started this NFL Careers for Women, essentially, event that happens every year. It's now being held at the draft, so you've got all these head coaches there. It's a great opportunity. You have to be hand selected to get into this group. Okay. So they take about 50 women who are really serious about making football a career. And you basically get supported. You get put into contact with the right people, whether that's college, high school, NFL, whatever it is. And so she's really our center point. So all of us females who are in the league right now have gotten there at least through knowing her.
Is she married to Ian Rappaport by any chance, or even
No,
related?
everyone asks that. No.
I'm just wondering because
Everyone asks that.
Ian's got the plug into the NFL, so it would make sense that maybe his wife or sister is got the is helping in with the sort of the next generation of people. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know it's crazy. They have the same last name. Yeah, she works for the NFL, but she's Canadian at first. She had like I'm totally going out on her. Like she had the coolest way that she got involved, like got a job in the NFL. She was a quarterback in Canada playing like flag football back in the day.
Okay.
And her like resume to the NFL was she sent them a football and was like, if I can get a ball to you this accurately, imagine what I could do if I worked for you. And I was like, dang.
Damn. I like that.
Yeah, it was so cool. So cool. So she's mega.
Obviously, we've seen a rise, obviously, since we met ages ago. The sport over in the UK is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and to a point where there's like a dedicated NFL channel on Sky that we have one of our troublemaking co-hosts, Hannah Wilkes, who's a friend of yours, on our show all the time. But like, do you obviously it's different this year because of the pandemic we couldn't have the fans over, but like to me, like, what's your take on the rise of NFL in the UK, from your perspective?
Yeah, and it definitely, like you said, is getting bigger. I mean, every year we're finding some new addition to getting the sport over here, and I think it's something the NFL have been working on for so long now. And there's more and more fans that are actually getting involved in the sport, and there's ways that I think also for fans is making it more digestible, because you've got the like diehard, super passionate fans that, probably know more football than most out there, just from loving it. And then you've got the people who are like, I don't really know what's happening, but I appreciate the big hits, the cool throws, and the athleticism of these guys. So, you can even watch like 5-minute highlight clips now, or 15, or whatever it is. So I think they're also finding a way to make it more digestible for people and kind of break down those barriers. Like the NFL Overtime has done a good job of that. They're making it kind of user friendly in a way so that anybody, you don't have to know the sport to kind of get hooked on it or fall in love with it that way. So, it's been tough not having the international series. I know so many people are upset about it, but this game just keeps growing, and yeah, we're looking inside the UK, but actually this game keeps growing across Europe. And, you're looking at, we can't see it really because we're so focused on us, but like your Germany's, your like Amsterdam's going over to China, like, and there's an NFL China, so you've got huge growth here, and the rest is all going to kind of fill in between.
So I was going to ask you, Phoebe, okay, and I'm going to put you on the spot. This is actually really going to put you on the spot now.
I like that.
Yeah, I do. I'm not going to lie. So from Chuck Noll to Bill Walsh to Bill Belichick, all these great head coaches, all these great coordinators, if you could have the chance to learn from one of them, have a sit down, one-on-one, learn with them, and then apply that to become the head coach for yourself, which coach throughout the NFL history would you actually pick, and why?
I probably would choose Bill Walsh, because I think there's multiple reasons for it. Like, I've read his book. My internship that I even got a foot in the door is through him. Like, it's called the Bill Walsh Diversity Fellowship. Okay. So I feel like in that sense, he's offered so much, but the amount of guys, like the amount of coaches that have come through his system that have, loved everything about him. I've only heard great things. And I just think to see the world the way that he sees it, I felt like he was really forward thinking and progressive for his time as well. I would love to learn from him. I know Bill Belichick is wonderful, but I'm like, I played against this man. I don't want to learn anything from him. No, to be fair, like so many guys, I don't know, like our offensive coordinator was with the Patriots for 11 years, and these guys pick up all these tendencies from each other. So it's like, even Coach McDermott, he's a Andy Reid guide. So, now I feel like part of me is learning from Andy Reid and Ron Rivera and all, you kind of get this like trickle effect, and they hold on to these things that are special to them. So yeah, long story short, Bill Walsh.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So you're obviously you're lucky enough to be in the warm sun over there, and I'm not going to take any anything less than that, because you're just trying to play it down to make us feel better. But what's your current role? Obviously, we met you when you was doing a lot of coaching in the UK. But what's your current role in the States? And tell us all about that.
Yeah. So again, I still am wearing multiple hats, which I love. But really working with NFL Flag over here, they've got a lot of plans going forwards in terms of growing the game. So, and a lot of times trying to see what we're going to do. I do like their females in flag ambassador role as well, which I absolutely love, because I get to spend so much time kind of talking to these young female teams that are coming up. And, really looking at what player pathways will look like for us, whether that's in the UK, in the US, and how do we kind of support people? Because I think it's really important that, we talk about NFL, grassroots, like getting fans at that age, but, we now offer college or university scholarships to females over here to play flag football. So how do we make that happen over in the UK? How do we get something so we can get some of our girls from the UK scholarships to come play out in the States, something that we never knew could happen? And kind of the last bit of that is, so our international federation are the people that deal with the Olympics. So I'm the athlete representative for American football in total. So part of our role is next year in 2022, we have the World Games. And that's really cool because that's going to be in Alabama. And it's the next step to making flag football an Olympic sport. So looking for 2028 to get flag football into the Olympics. And that's like the ultimate goal, right? That's putting our sport on the map. And it'll probably always be flag football. Just like you watch like sevens rugby, when you get many more people like that, and imagine all the coaching staff as well that comes to the football team, it could probably be a bit overwhelming at Olympic Village.
I can imagine. So we're gonna go into like sort of obviously current NFL topics, and I guess for me, the first thing, obviously, this season's been racked with COVID. There's been a lot of issues, but it's still been a great season. It's been an entertaining season. You had the Steelers who were 11-0, and then they collapsed. Green Bay been playing really well. Tampa Bay with Brady. What's been your sort of, I guess, your highlight of the season for you, in terms of what's been your favorite moment?
Ooh, that's a good one. And I'm really trying not to just pick a Bills moment.
You're going there.
I know. I mean, it's postseason, but I mean, how do you get over the fact that after 25 years, these guys have made it into the divisional rounds? I mean, that's so freaking cool. And it's so exciting to see. And I think when you're like emotionally tied to them, you can't help but be happy.
Of course.
Yeah, going back, I never wish bad upon anyone. There's been some firings that have gone on this season, but actually it's really kind of helped the team. Okay. I think everyone, we're talking about the Texans right now. Like, I think everyone, when they traded Hopkins, everyone was like, what the heck is going on? So I think some people inside might have been cheering a little bit. But, it's tough to ever wish any negative on someone getting fired. But I mean, that was a wild decision, I'll be honest.
I know they did Deshaun dirty. I'm not gonna lie, they did, and they've done Deshaun dirty since. So yeah, I mean, if I was president of the Texans, or in charge of the Texans, I would try to work on that a little bit. But we'll see. I'm no GM, unfortunately.
Do you guys have any highlights? Ooh.
Yeah, you won't. Yeah, one of the things I was going to say is that I try not to. You said it's not good to wish people bad on people when they get fired and stuff like that. But Doug Peterson, then you deserve that, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, you're a Giants fan.
Giants fan coming out, and that's what you get. But I would say, if you'd be like, this has been, funny enough, one of my most favorite seasons. It's been the most exciting, because obviously there's the rise of the rookies coming through. There's obviously, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, so forth, proving themselves. And actually all the quote unquote older quarterbacks, I think all of them, all five of them at least, were of the ones that are over 25 have got to the playoffs. So, what do you feel about, like, how do you think this has affected the players with not having fans, this season?
Yeah, and I think there's definitely mixed feelings. If you're losing, you're glad to not have fans. If you're winning, you wish they were there.
That's true.
But I mean, it's definitely, I think it's been more of like a game plan factor. Like there were times where we would go and play the Vikings, for example, and part of our game plan was literally to get rid of their fans before the second half. So
Really?
you're now, because they have a really big impact on the game. And like now you can hear each other on the field. So if someone's making a call, if they're trying to, give some sort of audible, you can actually hear it or understand, or, everyone's on the same page. Whereas before, like in practice, you would blast the music so you couldn't even hear each other thinking. So just little things like that, I think, have actually been really beneficial. I think people have had, well, it's a tough one because the off season was so awkward that actually I think it took a lot longer to get up to speed in terms of catching, tackling, things like that. But I think it's actually made the games easier in some ways when you don't even have to worry about, oh, I didn't hear that, but I thought you said this, or, he snapped the ball, but I didn't actually say anything. Just like silly little mistakes like that would have happened in the past.
So I was gonna and another thing I was gonna ask you is obviously we alluded to it a little while ago with all the coaching carousel now with all the positions. But what I was going to ask you is what do you feel is the most what team has the most attractive coaching space if you were going to take over?
Ooh. Well, for starters, I always try not like I would try, but being a like, I guess, a part of a Super Bowl team, or a team that's kind of been to the Super Bowl, like, had an appearance last year, for example. Like, it's harder on the Chiefs and 49ers, right? Like roles like that, I always think are a lot tougher because the expectations are so much higher. And people can't always maintain that perfect standard expectation. But I think the thing is, like, for the Jets, for example, they are a team that need a lot of support, a lot of help, a lot of rejigging around with coaches, with players, and all of that. If you're looking for a project, that's awesome, because if this is the big key, if you have owners that are willing to support you on that journey, if you are coming in and saying, look, this is not going to be a winning team for 4 years, 3 years, whatever it is. But as we know, people don't want to wait. They need instant results, which is why you see a lot of times these coaches are getting hired and fired, just like they do in football in the UK. They're not given an opportunity to really make a difference. And especially if you're inheriting guys that don't fit what you believe in, yeah, they might be all-star studs, but that doesn't mean that they're going to fit your system. That doesn't mean that they're going to all get along. I mean, look at the Browns. How long did it take them with their all-star studded roster to actually figure it out? So, talent doesn't always mean that you're going to be a talented team. But yeah, I kind of would like the challenge of, a Jags, gosh, I hate to say the Jets, but you know what I mean?
Say the Jets. Say the Jets. They're fine. They've been an awful division since Joe Namath, and that's in the 50s. So, the Jets haven't really been, I know Jets fans are going to hate me for this, but they've not really been significant in the NFL for a very long time. I'll probably say the Jets, the Browns, the Lions, those sort of three organizations have been, and the Jags as well, have been shocking. You might have to include the Texans, depending on what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson over there. But yeah, so I guess from my point of view, in going forward, obviously we've got the Super Bowl coming up, and it's going to be in all the way in Tampa. Do you think, given who's left, and it's funny because we've got the NFC with all the old quarterbacks, effectively the average age is something like in their 30s, and then we've got the average age of the AFC in their young 20s. Who's your pick for the Super Bowl, and who you think is actually going to get to the Super Bowl as well from the AFC and NFC?
I mean, I am thinking Green Bay. I really like their kind of second half of the season, and I'm a massive fan of momentum. So they've been building this whole time, which has been really cool to see. And it's been nice to see them enjoying playing football again. So I'd say probably Green Bay. There is no way in heck you guys are going to be on here and say anything but the Bills.
I predicted that the Bills, I've said it a little while ago, I said that the Bills I think they're going to take,
Baltimore.
City. Yeah, I think they're.
No, they've got past Baltimore. And the problem I have with the Bills is the Bills' running defense isn't the greatest, and what Baltimore can do with the run is probably the best thing I've ever seen any team do. I mean, Baltimore at will can get 300-400 yards running the ball. The only difference I have, or the only problem I have with Baltimore is Baltimore need to be in the lead to continue to do that because Lamar can't throw out the outside of the numbers. Whereas with the Bills, and I said this at the beginning of the season, Stephon Diggs' acquisition to the Bills has probably been the best thing for Josh Allen because he hasn't always been the most accurate, but he's always got a big arm. And if you throw it out there, we know that Diggs is a bona fide number one receiver. He can catch those contested balls. And so you start to see Josh Allen's had more patience. The play action's done a bit better. The sort of underneath routes and the underneath throws, he's done a little bit better in that because he's got Diggs to go over the top to sort of burn defenders. So it's helped. And we're seeing sort of an MVP kind of like campaign from Josh Allen, which is great. But for me, I'm probably putting Green Bay just because of everyone that's come out of that system. In the second year, they've tended to go to the Super Bowl. You know, you got Kyle Shanahan as well, Sean McVay. So they people of that coaching tree tend to come into the Super Bowl. And until I see them get beaten, I know they haven't played well, I'm going to have to put the Chiefs.
Yeah. That's that's kind of fair.
No, I'm Bills Mafia all the way. I'm definitely that.
Until they play Green Bay and then you take Green Bay.
Oh, then the jersey switches straight away. You know how that works. I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna see if you're Nostradamus and you can actually predict some of the future. So we touched on Deshaun Watson a lot, and all fans that aren't fans of those teams of the Texans are kind of excited about a possible move, especially if it's to your franchise. But where would you say is a good landing spot for him to be able to go to, or who should trade for him really?
Oh, that's a good one. And I think even like last year's offseason proved to us how unstable everyone is in the NFL. Yeah. I mean, the trades that were going on last year were wild. But I mean, there's a lot of teams that need a quarterback right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that would be willing to pay the money for him. It's just kind of seeing where he would fit in, really. I mean, Lions are kind of desperate for one. Jags are desperate for one. Jets, freaking all these guys are desperate for one. I mean, Jets, there's no way that and I don't know why I can't seem to think of his name right now. Darnold. There's no way that Sam Darnold is going to be your starting franchise quarterback. They're looking for a franchise quarterback. I have to be straight. There's,
Phoebes. Wow.
Talented guy.
Phoebes is so nice normally. She just shot him right there.
but Phoebes, sorry to cut you out, but we saw you could have said the same thing about Tannehill in Miami. I think it's Gaze. I think Gates is the problem. And then now Tannehill's looking like a bona fide quarterback.
I know.
I'm not writing off Sam Darnold just soon,
No, true. And it's taking time. It does take having the right people around, especially as he's not a rookie really anymore, but you do need the support of someone who's been there, done that. And I don't feel like he's necessarily had that. Like literally having a pro quarterback around him as to just kind of offer advice, to kind of show him how it's done. He's kind of been thrown into the fire from the beginning. So, I'm not saying that. I mean, I did kind of say that he's not the forever franchise quarterback, but I think that he does need the support of a more veteran quarterback, and they need to win games.
Fair enough.
So just before you ask the last question before we start wrapping up, but I was going to say, if here's my Nostradamus one, if he moves to the 49ers, the trade, that's it. It's a wrap. I think that situation for me, when I look at it, and this is what I'm kind of hoping happens. We're supposed to do some interviews with the Texans people through Dan. So I would completely deny this when they when they come to speak to me. What was you saying? No, but if they are going to trade. And I would love that to happen, because I think that would be. I mean, I'm sure that the other teams in the division wouldn't be too happy about that. But I think that is the missing piece of the jigsaw for the 49ers. Like they need someone who can actually take the game by the scruff of the neck. Obviously at the moment it's a system team. But for you to be able to, as you mentioned with Green Bay, that's a system team. But if it all falls down, then they've got someone who can actually ad lib, and make some magic happen on their own. And I definitely think he will be able to do that. So let's hope that happens. I'll edit this out if it doesn't. Dan, go
no, because Hannah, no, because with Deshaun Watson, I think. Yeah, mate, he's great. I don't want him to go to the Lions because that's a joke of organization. Yeah. But it's funny you mentioned sort of the draft and you mentioned the Lions because we've got Matt Stafford. And what do you think is going to happen with him? Do you think he's going? If you're the Lions and now, would you trade Matt Stafford for draft picks, for trying to to revamp the entire franchise? They've got a new GM now, sort of coaching the personnel for coaching for the Rams. You need to get a head coach in. What would you do if you're the Lions?
Yeah, and they're definitely, I think at the beginning of the season, they were already worried about the season, which is never a good way to start. They hadn't had the most success previously, and I think they had a lot of pressure on themselves from within the organization. And I think, the tough thing when it comes to quarterbacks is that there's so many things that can change around you, but you need to have somebody there who's going to be that whole placeholder, even if even if you're talking about changing a whole bunch of things. I think they would be a bit remiss to get rid of Stafford with I would say try and get a young QB in. They'd be silly to kind of let him go without someone there to then learn and fall into the system, or there needs to be some sort of plan in place for that. And I think that they're probably going to make so many other changes otherwise. It's almost like, what's your control? Does this guy ever get an opportunity? Like you're saying about Darnold, will he ever get an opportunity if he doesn't have the right receivers around him, if he doesn't have the right system that he's in? So I think for someone like that, depending on what his salary cap, their salary cap is and what his salary is, I think they'll try and hold on to him another season, but have the next steps brought in place where he can be replaced.
Yeah, I'm loving you blessing us with all of your knowledge, and I'm going to be bothering you for you to be able to come back on the show again, especially on the hurry up, so you can teach the rest of these guys a bit of a lesson and blow them away like Hannah does every week. It's so
it's good.
Yeah, she's definitely. I must say, I'm loving the fact that we, the sport is growing so much, and with technology now that we can reach out to people like you, and we can actually, get you. I'm telling you, I'm going to keep on bothering you to be able to come back on again. You are part of the original squad, so you definitely have to. That's for sure. Phoebe, where can people find you? Obviously, who want to follow you in your path, actually,
Yeah. So social media, literally just my name, Phoebe Schecter. Try and keep it easy that way, so I don't forget. But otherwise, the UK Jukes as well. That's another kind of platform, especially for people within the UK. If you're, we're happy to point you to teams if you're looking to get involved as, just wanting to watch games or play, coach, whatever it is that you want to do. And then again, if you want to get involved in the sport, British American football in the UK, and that's probably your best bet. But don't hesitate to reach out. I want to help people in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, please don't hesitate.
Yeah, as I said, we're going to make sure that Phoebe comes back on, so you can reach out to her again and again, especially you Jets fans or you Sam Darnold fans who really want us. Obviously check out all of our content. We've got loads and loads of American sports content coming on Alt Sports. We've got some big news coming up pretty soon. So we would we're really excited to be able to share that with you. But until then, check out Alt Sports on Instagram and obviously on Twitter. When Twitter comes into my mind, I keep thinking about Trump. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It just pops into my head.
So you've not been banned.
It's like we haven't been banned. Yeah, just Anyway, we'll catch you the next time, and thank you for watching. Peace.